Let's be real for a second. Does it feel like the system is working for you? Because if you look at your rent in 2024, or try to buy a house, or God forbid, try to get concert tickets without selling a kidney, it feels like everything is rigged.
We grew up on this diet of capitalist propaganda called the invisible hand. You know the drill, Adam Smith, 1776.
The idea is simple. Leave everyone alone, let them be greedy, let them chase profit, and magically, poof, the market will fix everything. Efficiency, prosperity, freedom.
Whatever. Here is the ugly truth. The invisible hand doesn't work when you have monopolies. It doesn't work when you have pollution. It doesn't work when people lie, cheat, and hide information. In the real world, free markets are often just chaotic jungles where the strong eat the weak. So if the invisible hand is broken, who is driving the bus? Enter three guys who looked at this mess and said, "Stop praying to the market gods, let's start engineering the damn thing."
Leonid Hurwicz, Eric Maskin, and Roger Myerson, the 2007 Nobel laureates.
They didn't win for explaining how the economy works. No, that's boring. They won for inventing a toolkit to reverse engineer the economy.
It's called mechanism design theory. And trust me, the people running your life, from Google to the US government, are using this theory right now, whether to save you or to squeeze you dry.
Here's the thing. Most economists act like physicists. They look at the economy like it's the weather. They observe it, measure it, and predict it. Oh, look, inflation is raining down today.
Hurwicz, Maskin, and Myerson flipped the script. They said, "We aren't weather reporters, we are engineers."
Standard economics asks, given these rules, what will happen? Mechanism design asks, given this goal, what rules do we need to invent to make it happen?
It's reverse engineering social interactions. Let me give you the classic mom logic example. It's the best metaphor out there.
Imagine you have two kids and one slice of cake left. Both kids are greedy little monsters. They want the biggest piece.
If mom cuts the cake and hands it out, one kid will scream, "Unfair, he got more!" So mom uses mechanism design. She sets a rule. Kid A cuts the cake. Kid B chooses first. Boom, magic.
Kid A suddenly becomes a perfectionist engineer. He cuts that cake down to the exact molecule. Why? Because he knows if he makes one side slightly bigger, Kid B will take it, and he'll be left with the scraps.
Mom didn't need to preach about morality. She just designed the game so that Kid A's greed forces him to be fair. This brings us to the Nobel-winning concept, incentive compatibility. In the real world, people lie. Corporations hide their true costs. You hide how much you're willing to pay for a house.
Normally, lying pays off. If you tell the government you can clean up pollution cheaply, they might tax you more. So you lie and say it's expensive. Hurwicz realized that for any system to work, it must be incentive compatible. This means the rules must be set up so that telling the truth is your best selfish strategy. You don't need saints. You need a system that assumes everyone is a sinner, but tricks them into acting like saints.
But how does this apply to billions of dollars? Let's talk about the biggest heist that didn't happen because of these guys.
Let's rewind to the early 90s. The internet is a baby. Cell phones look like bricks. And there is a massive gold rush happening in the invisible sky above our heads, the radio spectrum. Telecom giants like AT&T and Verizon were desperate for these frequencies to build their networks. Without spectrum, they die. It was life or death. Now, before mechanism design stepped in, the US government was handling this asset like a clueless toddler. First, they tried beauty contests. Basically, companies would send lobbyists in expensive suits to Washington and say, "Please give us the spectrum. We are the best. We promise to be good boys." It was a recipe for corruption. The decisions were slow, biased, and frankly, stupid. Then they tried lotteries. The government literally picked winners out of a hat. This was even worse. Random dentists and truck drivers were winning licenses for millions of dollars worth of spectrum, only to turn around and sell them to AT&T for a massive profit. The public got $0. The government looked like idiots. The free market was failing. Enter the economists. They told the FCC, "You are designing the game wrong. You are incentivizing people to bribe you or gamble. Let's use mechanism design to force them to reveal their true value." They built the simultaneous ascending auction. It sounds boring, but it was a psychological weapon. The rules were specific. If you want a license in New York, you have to bid on it at the same time as the license in LA. If you lie and bid low, you risk losing the whole network footprint. If you bluff and bid high, you get crushed by the winner's curse.
The mechanism stripped away the BS. It forced AT&T to put their money where their mouth was. The result? 1994, the gavel dropped. The experts predicted the auction might raise maybe $1 billion. It raised $7 billion, then $10 billion, then $40 billion in later auctions.
It was the greatest transfer of wealth from corporate giants to the public taxpayer in history,
all because someone changed the rules of the game. But here is the catch. Just like nuclear energy can power a city or destroy it, mechanism design is a double-edged sword. And now the corporations have figured out how to use the sword against you.
Remember the 1994 auction? The government won because they forced companies to reveal their secret valuation. It was a victory for the people.
But fast forward to 2025, the tables have turned, and now you are the one being auctioned off. It's called algorithmic mechanism design. Think about Uber. You open the app, it's raining, your battery's at 5%, you need to get home. The algorithm knows all of this. It knows your history, it knows you are desperate.
In a truly free market, the price would just reflect supply and demand. But that's not what's happening.
Uber's mechanism is designed to calculate your willingness to pay. What is the absolute maximum amount of pain you will tolerate before you walk in the rain? $20, $50, $100? This is what economists call first-degree price discrimination. It's the holy grail for corporations. In the past, a shop had one price for everyone. If a rich guy walked in, he paid $5 for a burger. He would have happily paid $20. So he walked away with $15 of consumer surplus.
Companies hate consumer surplus. They want that $15, so they use mechanism design to extract it. Have you ever looked at a flight on your laptop, then checked on your phone and the price is different? That's not a glitch, that's a mechanism. Have you noticed Amazon prices fluctuating wildly based on what you clicked yesterday? That's a mechanism. Hurwicz, Maskin, and Myerson taught us that information is power. The person who knows the true value wins the game. Right now, big tech knows everything about your value. You know nothing about theirs. The mechanism is rigged to make you show your hand while they play with a poker face masked by AI.
And if you think paying $10 extra for an Uber is bad, wait until you see how this broken mechanism is destroying the entire planet.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather the elephant that's currently on fire: climate change.
For decades, we've treated this as a scientific problem. We thought if we just showed people the charts, the melting ice caps, the sad polar bears, everyone would hold hands and sing Kumbaya and stop polluting. It didn't work. Why? Because of Hurwicz, Maskin, and Myerson.
Climate change is the ultimate mechanism design failure. It is a textbook case of what economists call the free rider problem.
Think about it. Every country wants a clean planet, but every country also wants to burn cheap oil to grow their economy.
If the US cuts emissions but China doesn't, the US loses money and the planet still dies. If China cuts and the US doesn't, China loses money and the planet still dies.
So what's the smartest, most rational move for every single leader? Do nothing, keep polluting, hope the other guy fixes it.
This is a bad mechanism. The incentives are totally incompatible with survival. All these summits, the Paris Agreement, from a mechanism design perspective, they are just cheap talk. That's a technical term. It means promises without penalties are worthless.
So how do we fix it before we all cook? You don't need more Greta Thunberg speeches. You need a mechanism that aligns greed with green. You need to make it expensive to pollute. Not morally expensive, financially expensive. A global carbon tax is essentially mechanism design. It changes the payoff metrics.
If polluting costs $100 per ton, suddenly the CEO of Exxon isn't switching to solar because he loves the earth. He's doing it because he loves his bonus.
That is incentive compatibility. You trick the greedy capitalist into saving the world.
But right now, in 2025, we are stuck. The politicians are playing a game of chicken, waiting for the other side to blink. The mechanism is broken, and unlike the spectrum option, if we lose this one, there is no next auction.
So, what have we learned? We learned that the invisible hand of the market is often just a ghost story we tell ourselves to feel better about chaos.
Hurwicz, Maskin, and Myerson pulled back the curtain. They showed us that markets don't just happen. They're built. They're engineered.
Every auction, every voting system, every app on your phone is a machine designed to produce a result.
The terrifying question isn't, is the economy broken? The real question is, who is designing the fix?
Is it a benevolent government trying to save the planet? Or is it an algorithm optimized to keep you addicted, poor, and angry? Mechanism design is the source code of our society. For a long time, we let other people write that code. We let them decide the rules of the game.
It's time to wake up. We need to stop being passive players. We need to start demanding better mechanisms. Because if we don't design the future we want, someone else will design a future where we are just raw materials.
Don't hate the player, change the game. Thanks for watching.